Republican US presidential candidate Mitt Romney has been booed by an African-American crowd while on the campaign trail overnight. And joining us to discuss that and the broader election in the US from our Washington bureau is North America correspondent Craig McMurtry. And Craig, well, I guess Mitt Romney wasn't expecting to be welcomed at this civil rights gathering, but why was he there?
Andrew, good morning. He was there because after a very tough primary battle where he was forced to take some very conservative positions to get support to actually secure the nomination, he now needs to reach back across the aisle. He needs to make inroads with minority groups to try and attract votes away from Barack Obama. And essentially he went to this event, this NAACP conference in Houston, caused some eyebrows to be raised because he certainly wasn't expecting to get anything other than a frosty reception. Wasn't helped that before he even took the stage, the preacher at the event asked the congregation there to pray for President Barack Obama. Then as the organ music swelled, Mitt Romney walked out on stage. He never really looked anything other than awkward throughout the entire presentation. He was trying to make the case that despite the promises made by Barack Obama back in 2008, schools are still underperforming for African-American children. The African-American unemployment rate at 14.4% is well above the national average of 8.2%. But he ran into trouble when he tried to identify programs he would cut, expensive government programs he would cut. Number one, Barack Obama's healthcare changes, and as you can hear, the audience mood soured very quickly.
And so to do that, I'm going to eliminate every non-essential, expensive program I can find. That includes Obamacare, and I'm going to work to reform and save.
With the crowd there, Craig, I guess no surprise that he is struggling to get traction, particularly among African-American voters, but also with Hispanics as well. How much of a problem is that for the Republicans?
Well, there is concern in the party that they have a structural problem because poll data demonstrates the sorts of problems Mitt Romney as a candidate is having. With single women, for example, polls show Barack Obama holds a 2-to-1 lead. With the African-American vote, those responding in these surveys are demonstrating 87% support for Barack Obama. And if you recall, only a few weeks ago, the president announced that he was going to improve the pathway for young immigrants, undocumented immigrants brought into the United States by their parents illegally, allowing them to apply for work permits. Now that seems to have really bolstered his support with the Latino community. Florida, for example, a big battleground state, polls are showing there that Barack Obama holds a double-digit lead over Mitt Romney. So it was important for the Romney campaign to be there today. I guess the Republican will hope that independent voters will give him some credit for fronting up in that situation. They also want to draw a contrast with President Obama, who isn't going to the NAACP conference this year, suggesting that he's taking the black vote for granted.
Craig, we're about 4 months out from the election in November, of course. What are the polls telling us about the tightness of this race and just where both candidates are at in their campaigns?
Well, there are two new polls out today. There's a Reuters Ipsos poll which shows Barack Obama in the lead 49 to 46. There's also a Quinnipiac University poll out showing a similar 3-point margin, 46 to 43 to Barack Obama, demonstrating that it is indeed a tight race, though national polls aren't so important as what's going on in these battleground states. And the other thing is fundraising, very important. In June, Barack Obama raised $71 million. Ordinarily, this would be an amazing figure. The Romney campaign, however, raised over $100 million. Though he's constrained a bit, he can't actually start spending some of that money until he actually officially secures the nomination. That won't happen until the convention in Tampa next month, though, of course, super PACs, these outside groups, are already spending. So it's all pointing to a tight race, but it also has to be said, this far out from the November election, it's hard to read too much into the national polls.